I love FTL. Have you ever played a round of FTL that has this amazing music blaring in the background with the alarms going off and oxygen supply goes down, your limited crew of only 3 members and an enemy ship closing in for the kill? You're forced to decide whether it's worth using one of these valuable crew members to try and fix the life support system, keeping the sweet, clean oxygen in everyone's lungs, or to repair the shield so valiantly protecting everyone from the hailstorm of laser beams you know will be coming any minute. Or perhaps your most memorable moment came from when you were using a crew teleporter to warp your highly trained Mantis warriors aboard the enemy's ships in order to reap the extra rewards that come with harvesting an intact yet lifeless vessel. But unluckily, a firebomb lands directly in your medbay, destroying it completely. With a crew already damaged from the fight, putting out the fire carries an enormous risk to your team, and as the fight worsens, you realize that the longer you stay here, the deeper in trouble you remain. Your FTL meter is charging, sure, but leaving now would mean leaving your elite crew behind. Every moment you stay, however, you risk another firebomb ruining something even more crucial. Perhaps your engine will be destroyed, preventing your escape entirely, and ultimately ending your run. So would you leave your crew behind? FTL is composed almost entirely of these naturally created tough situations, and I think that's what makes it so easy to say, wow, I wish there was a version of this I could play with my friends. Wouldn't it be awesome if these crewmates were my friends and we got to experience this journey together? I think Hutlihut Games may have had this exact thought when they began developing Void Crew, as there were many familiar moments while playing this game. Very similar to FTL, you need to make it through each sector, often making choices which will depend on how much risk you care to take, and how much reward you receive in return. You and around 3 friends will man a ship assuming different roles. The pilot dodge bullets, the gunner shoot bullets, and engineers kind of keep everything running and repaired. As your run progresses, your health will be whittled down, and the attrition of every laser from every battle slowly adding up to your final demise, unless you can play well enough and work together effectively enough to preserve your fragile and finite ship hull until ultimately you make it out safely. But wait, before you purchase this game, I need to clarify that as much as I desperately want this game to be incredible, I have to specify that it's simply not there yet. It is my sincere hope that in the era of consistent content updates and developers improving on their games rather than making new ones, that this game can be refined into something truly timeless, because Void Crew gets so close it almost hurts. The absolute biggest flaw Void Crew suffers is that the different roles simply aren't as fun as one another. The pilot, in my opinion, is by far the most fun, as there is a big variety of weaponry you have to dodge, the enemies are diverse and interesting, you only have a few boosts you can use before you need to ask your teammates to recharge them for you. I think my only critique is the game's blatant disregard for Newton's first law. If this game had Outer Wilds movement, it would be a 10 out of 10, that's all I'm saying. Come to think of it, why did no games obey Newton's first law? I just want to have to think about my speed lest I launch myself miles in the wrong direction, damn it. If you know any good space games with Newtonian physics, please let me know, because I want to play them. The gunner character can be pretty fun, although the enemies are pretty numerous, the health bars are high, and landing a shot isn't very difficult or impactful enough for it to feel like a lot of fun. It kind of feels a little more chore-like. I've always subscribed to the Team Fortress 2 philosophy of video game weaponry. Difficult shots, highly damaging. Alternatively, there's the Left 4 Dead philosophy, many bad guys who die very, very easily. Void Crew fulfills neither of these, and therefore I really feel like the guns and gunplay could be improved. Worst of all, however, is the engineer. If you join your friends for Void Crew and pick engineer, make sure you're ready to hear the words "thrusters need a charge" over and over and over again, because they pretty much constantly need to be charged if you're going to be meaningfully dodging any incoming fire. In the brief moments between charging thrusters, engineers run around fixing issues on the ship and shoring up the engine. Unfortunately, most of this just boils down to quickly running around to press E on everything as quickly as possible. Sometimes he also has to leave the ship to pick up a piece of cargo or repair the hull, which is kind of fine, except the interior of the ship really never has anything going on. No aliens to fight, no obstacles to traverse, just hop out and then hope your pilot doesn't decide to abandon you for the memes. And the non-Newtonian physics means you can't leave your ship and repair the hull unless your ship is at a full stop, which really isn't that fun. I feel like players should at least mirror the ship's velocity when they're inside the shield or something. Dangerous mid-fight repairs would be fun as hell, but the engineers just are ground-bound. Now, I'm sure many people probably have lots of other similar games to recommend. Barotrauma does the teamwork a lot better, as the ships are more complex and people need to swap jobs as things go wrong. Sea of Thieves has a great teamwork-based ship fight setup, but besides these games having problems of their own, I really want a space game. I know that's childish to sit here and just demand that, but space is just so vast and fascinating and interesting to me. I have this deep desire to plunge into the unknown, of which I'm a huge fan. I want to panic about our life support being on fire. I want our pilot to die, and my heart to stop as I realized he was moving our ship at 500 kilometers an hour, and if someone doesn't get to the seat and pull on the brake, the next collision will snap us in half. I want to experience the tranquil yet terrifying emptiness that surrounds and beckons our planet, and that just isn't doable on a submarine or pirate ship. Well, if the developers of Void Crew are listening, I feel like a few additions would really pull this game into one of the greatest of all time. I think that taking inspiration from FTL and the variety of threats it poses would go a long way. First, interior ship combat is an absolute must. Nothing demands the crew play creatively more than a boarding party demanding the attention of your pilot while he tries to dodge the incoming missiles. Having to use space blasters or shotguns to fend off aliens from inside your ship would force the boring engineer role into more of a security specialist. More boarding-heavy encounters may even encourage the gunners, or even, in the most dire of cases, the pilot, to leave their stations and pick up a sidearm to defend themselves. I also feel like taking damage on part of the ship should do damage to the system that gets hit. For example, if you have guns on your right side and a missile hits that right side, those guns specifically should go down. And while we're at it, there should be a big plethora of systems that can be damaged in different ways, forcing you to prioritize when multiple systems go down at once. What if there was a door control that normally prevents intruders from easily accessing different rooms in the ship, but when damaged have to be forcefully opened even by the ship's crew? Void Crew doesn't have enough difficult choices or interesting problems to stay interesting for long, and this would go a long way in fixing that. Repairing systems shouldn't be available at the press of the E key. Perhaps if players had to solve a quick Among Us style puzzle to fix a system, it would be engaging and more satisfying to pull off a clutch repair. Non-engineer crew members can also repair systems, but get more complex or difficult puzzles they have to do. I wish fires could start on the ship and then spread to other rooms very quickly, causing damage if left unattended. I want certain weapons to breach the hull and pull the oxygen out. I want little upgrades and pieces of equipment you can find or craft that help with these specific situations. Add a few weapon types that have completely different firing systems, a beam with constant fire, a close-range shotgun flat cannon. And heck, I know this is pushing it and it would be difficult to implement, but boarding enemy ships would be a really cool and fun play style. I want engineers to be forced to exit the ship while we're in combat to enact crucial exterior repair while fighting boarders trying to plasma cutter their way in and dodging fire from the enemy ship. At the end of the day, I am not a game developer. God knows I've tried, but as much as I want to, I simply don't have the skills or talent to be anything more than just the ideas guy. But I do have this burning, unending desire to experience a game like I just described. I've been dealing with this ache for over a decade now, probably since FTL first came out. So I'm doing the next best thing I can do and sharing my vision as a sort of cry for help. Maybe someday someone will be making a game about space and remember what I said in this video. Maybe, in my own small way, I can be part of the reason we get a game like I've always hoped for. But if you're a person with those skills, that person who shares my vision, if you're the person that won't rest until we get to sail the sea of stars just like I imagined, then I hope you know. I get 10% of the profits and I mentioned the credits.